Hello students, today we'll be discussing on test construction that involves 6 stages. In that, the first stage of test construction is planning and defining the test objectivity. That is, objectivity of a test refers to the degree to which equally competent scores obtain the same results, meaning that the test should be devoid of any subjective or arbitrary evaluation. The gathering of valid and reliable and helpful information regarding the participant is the primary purpose of evaluation process. See, this is how we are going to do it. Administrative method. See, you'll be asking like, how will the test be given, individually or in a group? Length. How long is the test? Shorter period or more efficient? So this is the way the planning and defining the test will go on before starting the preliminary data. Choosing an appropriate scaling method, that is item selection. So here Mullis and Martin in 2013 suggested a few guidelines for item writing as per below figure details to define exactly what is intended to measure and being as explicit as possible. Another we have to focus on is produce a list of items or question, steer clear of very long items because they are typically not effective. Maintain a reading difficulty level that is acceptable for the individuals who will be completing the scale. Avoid clear of phrases like double-barreled that attempt to convey two or more ideas at once. Questions like, do you agree or disagree in flexible working hours? Next one is, think about combining items with positive and negative wording. Respondents occasionally produce the acquaintance response test. If a person's survey questionnaires is hard or the questions are confusing, survey tiredness may force respondents to choose on a favorable answer without reading a question. So the next stage is constructing the item. This is the most crucial way wherein you should be very careful. So this constructing of items will help you in having a very good item analysis, getting item index, getting discrimination and distractor analysis to get the very good reliability and validity for the test. So here you have to be very careful. There are few guidelines that you have to focus on while constructing these items. To avoid use trick items, focus items, questions that are independent, avoid clear of anything that is either too particular or too general. One construct only should be measured. Refraining from any use of obsolete adverbs like always, never, only or none. Create a new items or a questionnaire. Items with strong opinion should be avoided. The next stage is assessing and testifying the item evaluation. In that we have two stages or the two steps coming forward in this stage, that is preliminary test and the proper testing. In the preliminary test is carried out by the participant on their own and it contributes to the overall improvement and modification of language difficulty and ambiguity. Moving on to proper testing, here the first one is item analysis, which focuses on complexity of the test. Each question should be able to differentiate between high performers and low performers. The practice of evaluating the quality of an item is known as item analysis. After doing item analysis, the final test is structured by keeping questions that are high quality having an appropriate degree. That is why in the previous stage or a step it was said that constructing the item is very important and crucial stage, so that while testifying or while assessing the item analysis you retain the high quality question so that you meet the objective of developing that particular tool. Reinventing or revising the test, where here are in this test there are certain revisions like modifying, removing, deleting or adding up of another set of question. So in this, so after item analysis, if you want to modify or any item or if you want to replace any items, and you have to give again the another testing for an individual to before going to reliability testing. So in this, it is Stroud et al. Has recommended few stages here. In that first stage is pre-planning. Revisions to a test should be made with the goal of enhancing the test quality after reviewing approval of the test created revision. So here if you wanted to modify the tool which you have developed or bringing the changes in the previous questionnaires or a tool developer or test constructions, it is the stage or the guidelines here you are following here. Second stage is initial analysis and investigation. Test developers are responsible for keeping an eye on the environment in which tests are used, including feedback regarding tests and industry standards. The third is organizing the project. Fourth stage is intellectual investigation, when choosing the test items and tasks for a revised test. The fifth stage you are doing is when designing a test, it's important to keep in mind a variety of population and likelihood that updated version of the exams would be used in contexts other than those for which they were originally intended. Sixth stage, your testing and evaluation. The goal of pilot tests is to gather feedback from users and test takers that may be used to improve the items by identifying problems in the administration, content and scoring of the item. It also aids in quality. The seventh stage, standards of tests. In order to create normative information for a revised test that is applicable to intended test takers, revision tests or revision teams should give proper regard to the representation and the signs of standardized population or standardization of samples. Eighth stage is perform secondary research. Research into all revised test target population, including clinical and non-clinical population. Ninth stage is launch a testing of the items. So the test item description should specify how significantly the format has been changed. The last stage and 10th stage is activities conducted after item published. The dissemination of independent research studies should be encouraged by revision teams. The last stage is finalizing and executive or publishing the test. Here the process of creating tests do not end with the collection of data for cross-validation. So the publishers of the test typically provide extensive assistance that can be used for analyzing the test results. This aids may take the form of manuals, printed reports or interpretative guides, all of which are designed to assist test administrators in accurately reporting and applying the test results. This is all about the 6 stages of test construction. Hope you all follow these stages carefully in a systematic way and manner so that you meet the objectives and the purpose of tool construction and standardization of the test in a very effective manner. Thank you all.